A warm welcome to all the students. My name is Beneafo Angola. I'm going to present the assignment-based contact sessions for economics, didactics, and learner support. This module is for the advanced certificate in secondary education as well as the diploma in secondary education. I am standing in for Mr. Shanika Muela, who is the tutor but is unable to be here with us today. Economics didactics is more on giving the educator or the student the methodologies and techniques that one would need to venture into their teaching career, because you as an educator are expected to provide professional knowledge. You should be able to formulate and reformulate these concepts that you're reading about in your own words. So let's go on and just start with what we have prepared for you. This will aid you in your assignments that you would have to do in the following months. The first thing is, when you study this subject, you should be able to relate to the syllabus skills that are needed. So we have the Namibian syllabus skills. They are various skills that the Namibian curriculum is attempting to develop to learners amongst them, which we have below. You have to show numerical skills, problem-solving skills, communication skills, self-management and competitive skills, social and competitive skills, work and study skills. Apart from these ones that are mentioned here, there are two more that are not on this slide, which are information skills and critical and creative thinking skills. These are some of the skills that you need to demonstrate in the syllabus. The next topic is Bloom's taxonomy. This is a model which is used for classifying learning objectives that was proposed by a committee of educators led by Benjamin Bloom. It's divided thinking divided thinking according to 6 quantitative levels of complexity. These levels are often used to encourage learners to climb to a higher level of thought. Some of the key levels are analysis, synthesis, evaluation, knowledge, comparison. We have applications. When it comes to this taxonomy, you should be able to as well classify them in the 2 different levels that they are divided into, as the first 3 are higher level and the last 3 are lower level. As an educator, or as you learn this subject, some of the key features when you venture out to become a teacher or to be an educator in the society, you need to be able to deliver an effective explanation when you are teaching students or learners, or when you are conducting lectures to someone. So explanation is a major component of delivering an effective learning experience, and should include amongst the other the following: explanations, keeping explanations as simple as possible, use of appropriate tone and voice, maintaining constant eye contact with the students, use of concrete examples. You should be able to relate to the contents that you are teaching in a class and be able to give real-life examples that students or learners can relate to. Constantly summarizing key points. This is a vital key to having an effective explanation, as when you summarize key points, students are also able to take out what the whole lesson of the day was concentrating on monitoring learners' response to gauge understanding. One of the important ones is also asking learners questions for them to summarize the key factors. This is also where you are able to evaluate whether the students have been concentrating and whether they have been grasping these concepts that you have been teaching them. When it comes to effective explanations, it would also be advisable, as you read in your study guide, to go through the barriers of an effective learning environment, and you should be able to come up with solutions on how to curb these barriers. The learning environment of a student is very important, or of a classroom. These attributes to successful learning, which should take place under the following conditions if teaching is to achieve its objective. Learners must give frequent feedback to demonstrate their understanding, where in instances like this is where you can set up quizzes and tests and take-home assignments. The educator should be able to help the learners find personal meaning in the materials provided. The third one is use participative approach, where learners take turns to present in front of their learning mates, and this is also where you can evaluate the competencies of the students on whether they can answer as they present. Other learners will be asking questions, and it's a learning process for the whole classroom. The fourth one is recognize extraordinary achievement through class prizes. It's always advisable as an educator, when you teach and a student is performing well, praise their performance so that these students are motivated to learn more and to push themselves at a level which is higher than what they are achieving at the moment. Classroom management is also an important factor in this module, as educators need to be skilled to effectively guide their classroom in order to maximize the benefits derived from learning. You as an educator can use the following techniques to achieve these objectives. The first one is visual, using pictures as an aid to learning. Having a classroom where you paste posters with subject content, posters that interest the students. The second one is audio. This is where you use some audio aids to the learning process, recordings of maybe events that have taken place which explains those certain topics. We also have kinesthetic. This is carrying out physical activities within a classroom or having outdoor activities which conceptualize against the concepts that you are teaching the learners, rather than the students or learners listening to you in a classroom interaction or watching it as a demonstration. When students are physically involved in the activities surrounding this concept, they are more able to relate, and they say when you have done something you'll never forget that concept. The next topic is inflation. Sorry for the spelling. It should be inflation and the CPI. Inflation is one of the most important topics in economics. You should be able to understand inflation, the effects of inflation, and how it's measured. And you should be able to explain it and reformulate it in such a way that you are able to give to the average student to understand the concept as well. We'll start by explaining what inflation is. Inflation refers to the general increase in the price level in an economy. These increases in the price are not good for the economy and society. Frequent price increases may cause social unrest or it can cause hyperinflation, which turns the economy in such a way that nothing is affordable. The central government, through the Namibian Statistic Agency, measures the content of price increase through various measures. These measures can be done yearly or quarterly at times. The key measure of price change is the Consumer Price Index, which stands for CPI. When you're studying this topic as well, you should learn how to calculate the inflation rate. You should learn the different types of inflation as well, and you should be able to give examples of the different types of inflation. Another important concept in economics, and as well as when you have to teach students, is the gross domestic product and government spending. Gross domestic product is an important measure of the country's level of productivity. It is abbreviated as GDP, and it measures the country's output by the nations of the country. Most investors, or when we trap our income within the country, GDP is one of the most commonly used measures. On the other hand, gross national product, which stands for GNP, measures the output by the nations of a country regardless of where they are in the world. Every year or half yearly, or still every quarter or month, some governments will make plans for their future spending and will regularly allocate resources according to such plans. National planners and national advisors rely on these statistics for GNP and GDP for most of the future spendings of a country to advise the government or ministries as well. When it comes to classrooms and at school, one of the biggest problems that you will encounter as a teacher is bullying at schools. Bullying within the learning environment need to be conducive to all the students or learners. This means ensuring that all forms of bullying must be identified and dealt with immediately. Bullying may be intentional at times. Bullying will also include the intention to harm at certain instances as well. Usually, it is a sign of power imbalance between the students. When you read about this topic, or when you go through your study guide, be able to as well come up with remedies on how to balance the bullying at school, or how to go about curbing it within your classroom. And you should be able to put yourself in that situation, on what role would you play as an educator to decrease the rate of bullying at school. Within a classroom, you as an educator should also be able to encourage and teach learners on conflict resolution, as bullying is mostly attributed to conflicts within schools or classrooms. So you should be able to teach your students some social skills just on remedying conflicts, where they learn to listen, they learn to communicate and manage these conflicts. And with that, bullying rate is rated down. The next topic that we'll look at is underachievement at schools. I think every school will have an underachievement at times. So effective teaching delivery brings a lot of responsibility amongst the educator. Educators need to identify early enough the performance of their students so that any underachievement is corrected. There are various techniques that can be used to correct underachievement. Amongst them are the following: Emphasizing goal setting, using descriptive praise. If a student did well in a certain category or a certain part of a subject, praise them descriptively on what it is they are praising them about. The next one is have learners discuss and think about success or failure. Provide hands-on learning experience. Show learners how life success is linked to school performance. Uphold high expectations for all the students. And last but not least, include classroom skills that increase skills in memorizing. Because we are studying economics, we also have to learn on how economics can help in school management. Economics, which is a study of business, can help the schools to effectively manage fundraising activities. Economics teachers and learners can seize this opportunity to demonstrate their management and economic skills by playing an active role within the school activities. They can organize various activities such as sponsorship walks. They can organize school liver parties. They can bring together former learners who might be working now for mentorship or encouragement of students, and those can be willing to donate as well to their former school. This is also where economics, because you study economics, you can set up an economic society within your school or an investment club that generates or teaches these students in future economics endeavors. School attendance. Educators will have a responsibility towards managing class attendance of their learners. Within this managing responsibility includes issues of punctuality at school, cleanliness of learners, cleanliness of their books, record of any misbehavior, any sign of child family problems that might affect the learners in classroom. Educators are also child and parent counselors. Other school activities that you can involve yourself in are some learners may not be good in class but may be gifted in extra curriculum work. This could be other staff which do not contribute to their classroom grades. These extra curriculum activities must be recognized so that talent can be developed equally early enough. Examples of extracurricular activities could be sports, swimming, music, where you develop the students in such a way that their skills enhance them in even getting future scholarships within the different sectors of your country. You as an educator should be able to consult with learners' parents. Educators must work together with the parents of the learners. This can be achieved through the engagement of parents during the consultation days, such as parent meetings that are held on a semester basis. This event should be used to establish a relationship between the parent and the educator. Parents must be allowed to access their child's books during this day and must be allowed to ask questions about the child's performance in class. If there are any areas the parents need to be aware of, they should be made aware of at these sessions, and this is also where the parents can be told on areas where they can help their child at home in focusing and enhancing their knowledge as well. The next slide that we'll look at is the use of classroom tests and homework. when you are out there as a teacher, you will be expected to use various methods to ensure an effective class delivery, and amongst these methods are use of classroom tests, use of group exercises, giving learners work to do at home, which is homework, extra classes where possible to assist slow learners. This is also where you can plan field trips to different companies that are which have business models that relate to economics as you teach these subjects to grow the learning experience of the student. This is the end of the slide. So now I'll just give you advice on how to go about finishing your assignment. Make sure you go through your study guide, go through all the course content, make sure you understand the outcomes that are on each chapter, and go through the activities as well. They are extra materials that are suggested in your study guide, so please go through those extra materials if you are at liberty of getting them. Have interactions with other students who have done the subject so that they can advise you once you have trouble in understanding some concepts as well. When you submit your assignment, there are certain requirements that you are needed or expected to do. You have to submit the assignment, which will be out of 130 marks. You are expected to answer all questions unless otherwise noted that you should choose or select only a few questions. Make sure you read all the instructions within the assignment page. Number your work correctly. Make sure your question sheets are together and securely tied to each other. Remember to have headings in your assignment answer booklet where you perhaps indicate that this is section 1, or under that there should be subheadings as well, which can be question 1. We also pay close attention to spelling, because this is an assignment. You have your study guide, you have most of the concepts, terminology are within the book, so it will not be acceptable on having wrong spellings while you have the word and terms right in front of you. Before you answer your question, make sure you understand the question. Make sure you read the action verb that is starting with that question. Most questions start with action verbs. They either state for you to explain, for you to demonstrate. You could ask to analyze or conceptualize. So just make sure you get all these understanding before you embark upon answering the assignment. With that said, if you have any information that you need, or you need assistance, please make sure to be in contact with the tutor, Mr. Shanika. I'm sure on your assignment booklet his number is there, an email or any means of communication that he prefers to be reached on. With this said, I wish you all the best in enduring your assignment and finishing it, and also as well, if you can finish this assignment and get the A, you are destined to get the A in your exams. Thank you.